Today, we are talking water. Good morning and welcome to the Real Outdoors, where we talk about the outdoors and all the adventures that come along with it and the gear you need to get you out there. If that's something you're into, be sure to click that red subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to keep up with all of our latest content. I have to start today by thanking Xero Shoes for sending me a pair of their new Aqua X Sport water shoes to review. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Water, adventures outdoors, and water shoes. Now, living in Florida, there are a lot of opportunities to get into the water, to play in the water, to go out on the water. And if it were up to me, I would prefer to be barefoot doing these water activities. But there are times when you need to protect your feet doing outdoor activities on the water. Sometimes you need protection for snorkeling. Definitely recommended if you're fishing. You don't want to get a hook in your foot. When I go scalloping, I like to wear shoes. You never know what you're going to step on in those shallow waters looking for scallops. And when I go to summer camp with the scouts, we go whitewater rafting. And the scouts require closed-toed shoes even when you're whitewater rafting to protect your feet. That's where the Aqua X Sport comes in. Like I said, I would prefer to be barefoot. And finding water shoes that give you that barefoot feel, I've found has been pretty tough. I think these are about as close as I'm going to get. You know, Xero Shoes has the zero drop sole and it's super thin, so they already feel kind of like they're barefoot. But the one thing that I've noticed about this pair of water shoes versus all the other water shoes that I've used in the past is Xero Shoes always has this very wide toe box at the front. It really lets your toes spread out and it feels kind of like you're not wearing anything. And so that's something I've really noticed with these since I've been wearing them and trying them out. And you can see they're also very flexible. I mean, you can just roll them right up and you can see all the sand coming out from me wearing them. It really does feel like you're not wearing much on your feet to begin with. At the same time, protecting your feet from the fish hooks, whatever you're stepping on in the shallows while you're scalloping, things like that. Another thing that I really think is nice about these Aqua X shoes is you can see there's holes all over. I mean, there's virtually no material between you and the outside air. And so that lets the water just flow right out of it. And it doesn't get bogged down with a bunch of water that your water shoes are holding in them. I've used some water shoes in the past that the material soaks in the water or there's not enough ventilation for the water to get out. And then you may as well be barefoot because your entire shoe is filled with water. But you don't run into that with these. I also really like the way they've set up the lacing on these. You can see it's a shock cord with an adjustable clip. So you can make it tight when you need the shoes to stay on or loose when you want a nice, comfortable feel. So that's a good design. The one thing I've noticed is with this tongue that comes inside, you have to really be conscientious when you put these on to make sure that tongue doesn't have a crease in it, kind of like that. Because that crease will rub the top of your foot and kind of create a raw spot if you're not careful. As long as that tongue is nice and flat and you don't get those creases, super comfortable. I mean, it's about as close to being barefoot as I'm gonna get. Xero Shoes does include an insert, a sole insert. So that adds a little additional padding if you like it. I think I'm actually going to use them without that because like I said, I want to be as close to barefoot as possible. The one thing it does provide, you can see that it's a closed-toed water shoe and has a little bit of extra material there to protect your toes. And it's a little harder, doesn't have the ventilation, but that's a key thing to having a water shoe that's a closed-toe water shoe. The whole point is to protect your toes, protect you from kicking the hooks in your fishing boat, kicking a rock while you're walking around in the beach, or scalloping in shallow waters in the Gulf, or if if you get kicked out of that whitewater raft, you're gonna hit a lot of rocks with your toes. Another thing that's real nice about these water shoes versus other ones I've tried is you can see it has a fairly aggressive tread on the sole. And that is really good because most water shoes that I've used before, they come with basically no tread at all. It's just a sole on the bottom of the water shoe. And so when you're standing in a river or in the Gulf while you're scalloping, you have no traction with your water shoes. You eliminate the need for covering up your toes and protecting your feet from hitting something, but then you have no traction when you're using your water shoes. It seems kind of contradictory. Then you're going to end up slipping and falling and maybe hurting something other than just your feet. Like I said, I've looked around a long time for good quality water shoes and just haven't found them. But I think with the new Aqua X water shoes from Xero Shoes, I think I finally found the closed-toed water shoes that I've been needing for years. I've been using them for a couple weeks and they've been fantastic. The only issue I found is with this tongue, and it's very easy. It's not like it's a bad thing. You just have to use it the way it was intended and make sure there's not any creases in there that are gonna rub the top of your foot. Beyond that, they're fantastic shoes. I've actually worn them during the day just as like regular tennis shoes, and they've been great. I almost forget I have shoes on at all. Once again, I want to thank Xero Shoes for sending me a pair of Aqua X Sports to try out and review. I really think Xero Shoes has found a win here in the water shoe department. I'm going to use them for all of my water-based outdoor activities. Hopefully, I'll run into you and see you in the real outdoors.